we're going to do that composite that we were working on today. So I'm going to demonstrate for you exactly how I would get to it, open it, get my pictures for it, and complete the entire assignment. So to get started, I will go to Google. I keep all of my daily tabs in a tab that says Daily School Tabs, which is where I also keep Remote, and I've named it Remote Adobe because we use Remote PC so that we can use our Adobe programs. Since I've signed in today, it immediately takes me to the Remote PC Computers page. And when I scroll down, I go to My Computer, which is 30. I click on Viewer Light because that's going to give me the cleanest look, and then I wait for it to open. Once it opens, I have two options. I can either click Control-Alt-Delete, and I'm going to open my menu here just so I can see everything. Or if you're on an iPad or a Mac or some other device that doesn't give you the option to click Control-Alt-Delete, then I simply go to this little tab here where it says Control-Alt-Delete, and I click. Now, I've already saved my pictures, and I think I've shown you how to save pictures. You simply go to the file here with the little magnifying glass, and when you click on it, you notice that this browser opens up. And if I wanted to upload a picture, all I'd have to do is click Upload. Everything I have on my regular computer would show up, and I could pick out that file and download it. At this time, I already have the photos I need, so I'm going to close this down. Go ahead and put in your password and open up Remote PC. This right here is just sort of in my way at the moment, so I'm going to click it, and if I ever need it again, like when I'm ready to log out, I will simply click it and it'll come back. So since I'm not logging out for a while, I will get it out of my way. Now, unfortunately, Remote PC tells us that we can see full screen when in fact full screen is no bigger than the regular screen. So this is the biggest, unfortunately, that I can get it to be. I will go to Photoshop and wait for it to open. And things are a little slow with Remote PC, but good things come to those who wait, so we will be patient and it will open. Sometimes I get very impatient and I click again. I can see it spinning, so I do know something's happening. Okay. We're getting there. So I will be starting from the beginning. My Block 1 students today unfortunately didn't get to see the demonstration. Zoom sort of kicked us out. So I'm going to just start from the very beginning. So what I will do is I will first create new, because I am creating a new document. So I'm going to click that and wait for it to open. Once I select Create New, I will go to Print. The reason I choose Print is because there may come a time in the future where I would want to print these, and so having 300 DPI, PPI resolution is going to make it possible for me to print it. So although at the moment I'm not concerned about printing, in the future I may be. So I like to think ahead. So we're going to go for letter size. That seems to be an average size. The only thing I do want to change is I don't want it to be portrait orientation. I want it to be landscape. It is set for RGB. We know that RGB is designed for digital media. Something that's going to be on the website, something that you might want to upload to Google Classroom, anything that is meant to be on a computer or on a phone or something like that. So I'm going to leave it at RGB. If I ever do decide to print, I can always change it to CMYK, which is what we use when we're printing, because printers use 4 colors, whereas digital devices use 3. Last thing I need to do, I need to give my document a name. So I'm going to name it Mrs. C. I'm going to put a little dash there, and you don't need spaces. You can just type in the entire title of your work. And I'm going to call it 2 Picture Composite. And this is simply because we are putting 2 different pictures together. So I'm going to call it Mrs. C 2 Picture Composite. And since I've done more than one of these, I'm going to put V3. That means version 3, because I've done quite a few of these. So if I give it the same name, things will get confusing. So since I need to change the name, it will be V3 for version 3. Last thing I can do, and this really doesn't matter very much what color the background is, because I'll be putting a picture over it, but just so that you can see what a transparent background looks like, I'm going to click Transparent, and then I'm going to click Create. Okay, so you notice that a transparent screen has this little grid look to it, and so that's what it would look like. So I've got it saved. You see the name of my file right there, Mrs. C 2 Picture Composite version 3. You can see the size, it's 16.7%. That's pretty small. If I want to make it bigger, I could probably just hit Fit on Screen, and that will probably make it as big as I'm going to get it in this remote PC format. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the 2 pictures that I would like to use to create this composite. Now, first thing I'll do is I'll just go to the V drive, because that's where we keep everything. And if I go to PAMC Cook, and if I go to Block 1, this is your folder, and this is where you'll find things. The first picture that I would like to open is my people. I want to decide what kind of a person do I want for this particular composite. And I have a variety of people here, and you can use any person you want. You can even include yourself. So if you choose to do a selfie, just upload that photo and use a selfie. I think I'm going to use this man. He seems fun, and I don't know, I'm just going to put him somewhere. I'm not sure where I want to put him, but I'm going to put him somewhere. Okay, there he is. He's pointing at something. Something is interesting. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm going to use this man. Now I need a background. So again, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Open. I'm going to go back to the V drive. I'm going to go to our folder. I'm going to go to Block 1, and I'm going to go to Backgrounds. So where could he be? I know it's difficult to see some of these pictures, but I think I'm going to put him at an amusement park. So there's an amusement park. I'm going to open that up. So he's going to be pointing at these children that are flying through the sky at an amusement park. All right, so I've got 3 tabs open. I've got my composite tab, and then I've got the 2 pictures. The 2 pictures, although I'm going to borrow from them, I'm not going to change them. So eventually they will just get saved right back where they were with no changes to them. But I'll start with this amusement park since I have it open. First thing I need to do is get all of my tools. And if I look at this screen, I can see I don't have all of my tools. So I'm going to click on Workspace, Reset Essentials, and now my workspace is exactly the way it should look. I see my layers panel over here. I see my tools over here. I see my tabs here, my options menu here, and my menu bar at the top. I'm going to click that little tab so that I have double columns instead of single column. It's just easier to find your tools when they're in a double column. All right, so first thing I want to do is I want to take this picture and I want to put it into my artwork, which is Mrs. C 2-picture composite. So to do that, I'm going to go to my rectangular marquee. Okay, and it says right there, rectangular marquee. And I'm just gonna start at the corner and I'm just gonna go across the whole thing. And once I do that, you can see I have the entire picture. You can also see that we have that thing called the marching ants going all around the picture. Once I do that, I now have to go up to my move tool, which is to the left of the rectangular marquee. When I click on that, I can now move anything that's within that section to wherever I'd like to take it. And you can see that little pair of scissors there. So that little pair of scissors tells me that I'm cutting this out. I'm taking this. So I'm left clicking on my mouse and I'm pulling that arrow. I'm holding down the mouse on the left side and I'm pulling to my composite, but I can't let go yet because I have to pull it back down into the actual composite. So now basically what I've done is I've taken the picture from here and I've moved it to here. So I'm going to go back to the original picture. I'm going to go to select and just hit deselect because I'm done with it. And then I'm just going to click X. And now that picture is gone. I haven't made any changes to it. It's still there for the next person who would want to use it. And I'm ready to move on with my composite. Right now, I think I'm going to just zoom out a little bit. Right. I want to see the whole thing. I do know that I still have the move tool on, that I want to move it into that corner, but it's not big enough. So I'm going to have to go up to Edit. I'm going to have to go down to Transform, and I'm going to have to hit Scale. Now keep in mind that once we're back in school and you're using a regular computer, you will be able to use shortcuts. Unfortunately, with remote PC, the shortcuts don't work. So we're going to just get used to using things on our menu, but in some ways that's good. Eventually you'll learn the shortcuts, and if you were going to do that particular maneuver, scale, you would actually just hit Control T. Control T stands for transform, and you would be able to do that exact same thing. The next thing I want to do is I want to click this little check here, because now I'm basically saying to the computer that I would like to commit this change. So I click it, and now that change is made. My picture is big. Now I have this excess space down here that I don't want, so I will now click my crop tool. When I click my crop tool, for now I'm just doing something very simple. I'm creating an arrow that points up and down, and I've got to put it on that little white tab there. It's very important that you put it right in that spot, and just drag up until you get to the bottom of the picture. And now it's done. I'm ready to commit that change. And again, I'm going to click my check mark. All right, so I have this layer in place, but I want to add this man. So I'm going to click on the tab that has the man. Now my crop tool is still active because I was using it on the other picture. So I need to make that unactive because I'm not cropping this picture. What I am doing with this picture is I'm actually going to take this man out of the picture. So I'm going to click on this tool. This is a selection tool, but it's for doing more specific selections. And my selection is going to be him. And I'm going to do something that is so simple. I'm going to go up to the options bar and I'm going to click Select Subject. Now, my only concern is he is wearing a white shirt and he's on a white background. The computer is very good about picking out the subject. So the computer will definitely pick him out. The question is, will the computer pick out his shirt? Because his shirt blends with the background. For some pictures, you will have no problem. Your subject will be complete and you can move forward. But sometimes it's not always as easy. So we're going to see what we get and then we'll make some decisions what to do next. Takes a little while, so you have to have patience. Do keep in mind when we get back to school and you're working on a Mac, things will work much faster. So, how is your day? Weather's been a little chilly. Okay. Okay, there we go. If you look at him now, you will see the marching ants. The marching ants have picked him up perfectly. They even got his shirt. So I'm very impressed. And so now what we're going to do is, again, we're going to go to our Move tool. We're going to click on our Move tool. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to put our arrow on him. We're going to left click. And then we're going to start dragging him. Notice I'm going up, up, up. I'm going to my composite. I'm going to just sit there for a minute until I see my composite. When I see it, I'm going to drag down and I'm still holding the left side of my key. And now when I let go, there he is. So before I do anything else to my composite, I'm going to go back to his picture. I'm going to hit select. I'm going to hit deselect, and I'm just going to get rid of the picture because I'm done with it. I don't need it anymore. All right, so now I have a picture that is made up of two, just like we said, two pictures. And I still have the Move tool on, so I can move him. I don't want him to be that big, though. I want him to be much smaller than that. So I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to go down to Transform, and I'm going to go to Scale. Now you can see the bounding box which is around him, and you can see how big it is. I'm going to just bring it in a little bit, move him up, going to bring it down a little more. I'm not quite sure how big I want him to be, but I don't want him to be that big. Now I like that. I think that could be, I do want him to be the focus. And that is the point. The point is that he's still the focus and the background is the background. And I've now put him someplace completely different. So now that we've done this, before I go any further, I'm going to go to File and I'm going to hit Save, because you've done a lot of work to get to this place and you don't want to lose all of this. So I'm hitting Save and I'm going to wait for all of this to save. There we go. It wants to know where I want to save it. And so this is where you get to be very specific. I don't want it to save to backgrounds. I want it to save to my folder. So I'm going to go to block 1 and I'm going to go to my name, Mrs. Cook, and I'm going to go to my assignments, because this is my assignment, and I'm going to save it here. So now that's where it will be. It will be in my assignments, and I'll click OK. Okay, so this much I have accomplished. So the first thing I want to do is go to my bottom layer. So you see we have 2 layers here. I want to name them. If I double click on this, I can name this background. And if I go to this layer, I can name it man. Doesn't have to be a long name, just so that you know the difference of what each of these layers is. This will become very important when you're dealing with pictures that have 10, 20 layers to them. So I've got 2 items going on here, and we've already learned about layer adjustments. So if I go to Layer and I go to New Adjustment Layer, this is where I can start playing with the background. So sometimes it's nice to just, and don't forget, you always hit Use Previous Layer to create clipping mask, because we don't want to do anything to him yet. We're not sure what we want to do to him. We only want to work with our background for now. So I can click OK, and now here's my properties, and I can play with how bright it is, how dark it is. I can play with the contrast. The contrast can be really rich, and I can move this out of my way so that I can see better. I can move in this direction, and there's less contrast. It's okay. I haven't made any major changes to it. I can stop here and X out of this particular menu. But I might not be done, so I can add as many adjustment layers as I want. There's levels, there's curves, there's exposure. If you recall the different layer adjustments that you played with the other day, Hue Saturation is always a good one. If you click on that one, and of course you always have to click that one part that says only this layer, I can really adjust the colors. I could have a purple sky, I could have a red sky, I could have a yellow sky. I can play with this. The saturation simply means you don't have a lot of color compared to the fact that you're all color. Okay? Decide what you like. If you like anything. If you decide you don't like anything, say you don't feel like this added one bit to what you want to do, then when you X out, just go to where it says Hue Saturation, drag it down to that trash can right there, and anything that you changed is now gone. So, but I still haven't gotten anything really cool yet. So I'm going to go back to my new adjustment layer. When I really want to see things change, I can go to, say, Channel Mixer. And of course, when you go to Channel Mixer, that's where you can completely change your colors. You know, things can really get crazy with the colors if you want them to. Right now it's set on red. I can set it on green. see what happens. It definitely changes things radically. And again, this might be too radical for what I'm looking for. So again, I will X out. I will take that channel mixer and I will toss it in the trash can because it didn't do what I wanted it to do. What else can we try? Invert. Well, you know that when you select invert, you're going to get something completely opposite of whatever you had. And since that sky was so light, you can see how dark it is now. So do I like this? Not really. I don't like this. So again, I X out and I throw it away. Okay? Still no major changes, but I'm not done. Maybe posterize is the way I want to go. Okay, when you posterize, you really break down the colors. The more levels you have, the less it looks like a poster. If you want it to really look like a poster, you have to have fewer layers. Like now you see that sky looks more like, yeah, you can see the changes in the sky based on the levels. All right, do I like poster? So I'm very picky, and I'm not sure how picky you are, but I can't decide if I want to stick with this. I don't think I do. So again, trash can. That's what I love about adjustment layers. You try it, oops, you don't like it, you throw it away. All right, how about a gradient map? A gradient map means that you're putting some gradient behind it, and in this case the gradient is pink. You may not want a pink gradient, you may want a different type of gradient. You can do your own gradient by clicking new. If you click new, you can put in your own colors. Let me get this out of the way. I certainly wouldn't want red and green. Oops. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ditch this one too. You know where we're going to make the most difference, I think, with this? Is when we get to either our filters or our blending tools. Oops. Throw it away. Didn't want to throw away. Okay. So where are we? Think what we'll do. We'll go back to hue saturation, or what I'll do. You, of course, will do whatever you end up liking. I think I'll go with the purple sky. Get a little more intense with the saturation. Keep it right in the middle. And I'll click out of this, and I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to change that. But what I will do is I'm going to go to my blending modes, and I'm going to see what happens to those colors when I start scrolling through the blending modes. And some of them I don't see anything. Some of them change things completely. Some of them are too dark. Some of them look very similar to what I had. I still like the purple. All right, I'll stick with this one, but I think I do want it to be darker. So if I go to adjustments, I can still make some changes. Okay, I can adjust using the levels, and that kind of pulls out my shadows and my highlights. Okay, things get lighter if I pull that. If I want everything to get darker, then I'll pull some of my lights in. But this gives you a sense of the balance of your color. So I might bring my midtones kind of more into the middle here, and that's going to help strengthen the midtones. Do I want to make any other changes? What other options do we have? You're welcome to test out all of these things. Okay, again, we get into color changes here, and right now we're working with reds, and so to change that, you can pick a different color. So if I say choose cyan, it's going to look for the cyan in this picture, and it's going to make changes to it depending on where I decide the changes need to be made. Okay. Now I'm adding some interesting blues to the sky as well. I kind of like that. All right, so I've been playing a lot with this background. I'm mostly good with it. I'm the only thing I'm not real sure about are the flags. I'm not sure if I like those, but for now we're just going to leave those as they are. I'm going to move to the man now, and now it's his turn. I'm going to see what I can do with the man. So again, I'm going to hit new adjustment layer. I can see what happens if I adjust the brightness and all of that. He can get darker, he can get lighter, he can, you know, be high contrast, low contrast. Sometimes I like high contrast in images, especially when it's meant to be something that's supposed to stand out and just be fun. But I'm going to go for a big change in him just to see what happens, because I do, oh, that's too much. I do like to see what changes we can make, and that one's going to go bye-bye. There we go. I was hoping that was going to create a very cool change. We're going to go with maybe channel mixer, because I can change the colors in him, and that could be an interesting thing. And right now it's set for green, and I'm going to set it for red because he's got that red hat on, and I can change his coloring completely with these. And that's not too bad. What happens when we go with the blue? Whoops, we get completely different tones. Now I'm starting to like that because now he's got more of a purple look, and it kind of goes with my purple background. And I'm I want him to look like he goes with my background. I don't want him to look like he's completely normal. So I'm going to keep that. He's got now on this purple hat. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do any more to him in terms of adjustment layers, but I am going to see what happens when I play with the blending modes. So as I play with the blending modes, things will change. There's the darker color, lighter. I like the darker color so far. That's kind of interesting where the screen is on. Now he looks more like a poster when I do color dodge. When I do lighter color, not much of a change. I'm not happy with the options I'm getting with him. Now there he looks like a poster, but not the colors I want. Here I can't see him at all. There he looks completely abnormal, so I'm going to skip that. I don't want to make the man abnormal. All right, so I've tested them all out. Color looks like that, which I like. Darken looks like that, which I'm not sure I like. The original and the normal I was happy with, and I think I was happy with darker color. So it's going to be between darker color and color. And for some reason I'm seeing more color in him with color. And again, I can go back up to my adjustments up here where he's concerned. And again, I can adjust how he looks. And now the adjustments are happening to the entire picture. So they're not, whoops, we definitely don't want that one. So threshold is always your black and white, and I'm typically not looking for that. Did we do channel mixer? We did. All right, I think I'm going to stop there. I like it. It's different. It's definitely not what it started out to be, and that was my goal. My goal was to come up with something different, and so that's what I've done. So I'm going to hit save because I've already saved it several times. It already knows where it needs to be, which is in my folder file. And I also want to save it as a JPEG so that I can put it on Google Classroom. So I hit save as, and I go down to save as type, and here's where I change it to a JPEG. So now I'm going to have two copies of it. I'm going to have a copy of it as a JPEG and a copy of it as a PSD. All right, it is now in JPEG format. Okay, I can close out of Photoshop now if I want to. And if you go directly to Google Classroom, you can see him. There he is there. Very slow, but if you go directly to Google Classroom, which is right on your links here, you can upload that picture, that JPEG of him, to Google Classroom for this assignment. Okay, so that's the end of how to do a composite. I did take my time with that. I did test out a lot of different options. You can do the same thing. It's all about getting the two pictures together. Once they're together, doing new layer adjustments on each, doing blending modes on each, finding what you like, being unique, being different, and that's what Photoshop's all about. Okay, so enjoy, have a good time, and I'm going to say goodbye.